Hey, how you guys doing? It's my second video for the day. It's about 4:50 Arizona time, and I'm over here on South Mountain, one of my favorite places to go for a hike. Yeah, I'm well aware that I've got stalkers and government after me. I mean, I did find a tracking device in my car the other day, well, a couple of weeks ago when I was cleaning my car out. But I've known it was there. I mean, pics are obvious. And I've noticed that there's a lot of undercover, unmarked police vehicles and all that kind of hocus pocus bullshit. No, I'm not going to censor myself. I love my constitutional rights too much. I love the freedom of speech. I mean, look, taxation is both extortion and theft. So, get to the point real quick. Back when I was, I don't know, what was it, in grade school, more specifically, a boarding school, because my mom at the time was in the middle of, hard times, trying to raise 3 kids, and a feminist for a mom, and a very weak personality. Like, she'd rather get drunk at the lake than help her kids with homework type stuff. So, needless to say, back in one of these boarding schools, I think it was at Little Keswick School, I made a video about the trophies I pulled out of that school and the athletic certificate that got half of my class on the presidential honor on physical fitness. And I'm very happy that Donald Trump is talking about that again, because I told my classmates after my PE teacher talked about this, the fitness thing. After all that, I told my class the minimal standard is the standard, and we're seeing how many we can get to the presidential standard, and if we can do that, that means we also will break records. So back when that's probably 5th grade or 97 or something like that, and going over learning the Constitution, learning about American history, and how embarrassing it was. I got all these federal laws, people protesting, and the only thing that they really protested was the alcohol instead of all the other stuff. And there was a lot of propaganda back then too. But back in the mid-90s, we had the FBI raiding a famous musician, Michael Jackson, and gangster music and gangster rap was having a battle of East Coast versus West Coast. But no one cared about Biggie E, I think his name was, or Tupac's being slaughtered by various rivalries. Mostly probably because, they're peaceful. And they know, trust me, they know who killed who. But they're more interested in raiding, they're more interested in harassing Michael Jackson. So, learning all this and, obviously talking to my teachers in class, along with other, students. Now, granted, my classes probably had 7 to 15 kids in it. We're small, we don't really follow rules very much. I mean, why should we? We're American. We stand up to tyranny. We have that Tea Party, aspects. But then I made a very clear decision. If I was interested in destroying America, I'd be a crisis initiation associate, or CIA, or any other alphabet agencies out there. And with that said, you guys did a terrible job in 2020. Out of all the diseases that you have, out there at your disposal. Like, wow. So, needless to say, anybody can pass a fucking test. No big deal. And then the second one is like, all right, well, so that's out of the question. I love my country too much. And why do I want to destroy American lives when we are, by definition, the country that's supposed to promote conscious evolution? Basically means you use your brain. You think. We got feet. We got feet under our knees. Hold on. We got feet under our knees for walking. We got hands for building. And we got a spine to stand up straight. And a spine to stand up straight. So we got a brain to think, to process information. We have hands to build stuff. We have knees. We have feet under our knees to stand and walk towards our goals. And we have a spine to stand straight. So getting on our knees for anybody is anti-American. Especially at that time when there was SWAT raiding people's houses. You got these big old tank-looking motherfuckers breaking down people's doors over stupid shit. Don't worry, I'm gonna be swearing a lot in this. I might think about reducing the swearing, but don't count on it. So, obviously I love my country, and I'm curious, who committed treason first? The ATF or the coward asking government to violate the Second Amendment? Or these photo radar things? Like, isn't that a violation of our Fourth Amendment? And with the violations, let's go with stalking. Let's go with peeping Toms. How many federal agencies care more about what you do than anybody else? I mean, the fact that you're willing to waste, that fact that you think that other people are more important to spy on, makes you a terrible human being. So yeah, back in the late mid 90s, America was a toilet. It was a police state, and I've known that since then. And with the Federalist Papers, because obviously my teacher was there, because we have teachers that actually teach, that actually had a good job, where you can actually ask them questions and not be scolded at it. Not be embarrassed, not whatever. So, I was like, okay, well, that's out of the question. The next one is, okay, well, I want to be a benefit, I want to be an asset. Okay, well, how about human medicine? Well, human medicine is, you're listening to a bunch of whiny, ungrateful people crying over spilled milk. And when there's a lot of other reasons that you could have just not been in the hospital. Like, for example, eating healthy food. I mean, if you're eating single ingredient in foods, you're most likely eating it from the planet. It's coming from the soil, or something ate it. And as opposed to all these weird chemicals, when you look at the ingredients that come in these boxes with plastic bags full of whatever chemical cocktail it is, you read it and you can't even pronounce half the ingredients unless you're a chemist. So, it's your life, your responsibility. So that got out of the question. So what's the next thing? Environmental. Tree hugging. Preserving wildlife. Promoting, biodiversity. Cleaning up. Picking up litter off the side of the street, or for example. So the question is, so the math equation becomes, well, before I get to that, then we got the Federalist Papers that my teacher, at the time was talking about, and they concluded, the founding fathers concluded that every 100 or so years, America will get tired of itself and have a civil war. 100 or so years. Well, the Democratic Party should have been dismantled in 1865 for the slaughter of a president. And then again, what do you think? The liars, cheaters, and thieves don't want to be exposed, so what do? They do what bad guys usually do. Lie, cheat, steal, kill, rape, murder. So, so that makes sense right there. I mean, people tend to be lazy. Like I said, who committed treason first? So, when a pig opens their mouth and calls someone a domestic terrorist, I'm wondering, why are you covering your face when real men show their face? You can call me evil, you can call me schizophrenic, whatever. I don't care. So the question becomes, what would an American do? What would a coward do? So for basically 30 years, I've wanted to know, what would an American do? What would a coward do? And as an American, I don't cower. And the pigs in my neighborhood, pigs in my area, know that. In fact, they know that so well that the judge dropped 9 charges related to financial tyranny. Driver's license plate, whatever. Because I was busy paying off, recovering from a business disaster that cost my cousin's life, mostly due to suicide, and family drama, mostly because grandma doesn't know that gold's worth anything, and mom rather watch TV on the job that I'm doing. It was mineral processing, being able to extract gold and silver out of dirt that I bought from a retired electrical chemical engineer. Now, the reason why I was able to do that is because grandma had a friend, because she's been in business. She owned and operated an auto mall in Scottsdale for 30 years and is responsible for the Phoenix freeways, which turned out to be amazing. That's why the corners are so banked, like race cars. So, my grandma was a badass in her own right, but still, there's always flaws. How you present the public and how you treat your family are two different things. She denied being a mayor of Scottsdale because she didn't want family being exposed or that kind of publicity. And I don't blame her. But I'm not my grandma. So with that, and when I was a kid, in the same school, the teachers know that I only wanted to study things that had a 20% survival rate. So the diseases that I'd write papers on had that. So naturally, that's how I would know. Or physical fitness. If you understand physical fitness, you got your balance, which is what martial arts is for. I recommend Wing Chun Kung Fu. That way, if someone grabs you, that way when a 400-pound human bear, grabs you from behind, trying to kidnap you in the middle of a bar, you can break free. That happened like 3-4 years ago. And I turned around and I'm like, what the fuck's your problem? I can literally climb him like a ladder and break every bone in his body on the way up and then touch the ceiling. But why would I want to waste that energy? And especially since it was in front of everybody, which means everybody there was in on it. So, survivability. I recommend, learning for your first aid. That way, if you get bumps and scratches or whatever, you know how to take care of it. If you break a leg, you know how to take care of it. If you break an arm, you know how to make a splint. I've had to save my own arm, and I used duct tape sticks and ammunition boxes. I was in the middle of the desert riding dirt bikes with my cousin and friend, and that was the first time on a bike. So I knew back then it was a police state, and that was like 30 years ago. So now let's fast forward to, a little bit. And like I said, people get lazy. People forget. They get coward. Like, stand with the cross or kneel at the cross or die at the sword, which is a terrible genocidal ideology, which is what government is. You obey us or you die, which is the reason why I can refer to you guys as treasonous domestic terrorists extorting the American people, or you actively hunt us. Now, because I'm very good and intelligent, and I love my country and I love the planet, my ideology is steward of the earth. Stewardship. Healthy planet, healthy multi-planet. So what's interesting, and I'm getting to my point real quick, is that when you have that type of mentality, what would a coward do? What would an American do? Not don't doing coward things. Like, if you're scared about something, figure out what it is that you're scared about. Write it out, figure it out. If you're upset, figure out why you're upset, and then work on that. Work on your flaws. For no other reason than you can have emotional security, emotional support. The Jesus dude said the kingdom of heaven is inside of you. It's true. So, for what's been going on for the last, since 2019 and stuff like that, is just the cleaning up of the 100 years of tyranny. So with these open borders, and you finally get ICE, finally doing their job that they should have been doing the entire time. Granted, they're taking away all the aggressive people, but the thing is, you let them in the country in the first place. Like, why didn't you say anything? And with all these unelected federal agencies and a pedophile in office at the time, why didn't you guys prosecute him instead of, not knowing where his cocaine was? So I will never respect, and nobody should ever respect government, because they don't care about you. If people work for stuff that says, shut up and obey. If you honestly love the United States, read a book. Challenge yourself. And the difference, and the thing about pigs is that they're domesticated animals. And once they go feral, about 6 to 8 weeks, they make a complete transfer. They turn into a boar, or their teeth grow big, like 6 to 8 inches outside of their face. Their skin changes texture. They go through a complete metamorphosis, or whatever that fancy word is. Think of Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk that can't go back to Bruce Banner type stuff. So when you expect that back in the day, so you calculate, okay, well, if they're acting like shit today, what are they going to do? So what percentage of America has no respect for the country? Well, to be blunt about it, those who worship government is the 80% that got the government vaccine. And that vaccine, I have no idea what's in it, but I'm pretty sure you got nanobots. So, with all the ICE raids and all the corruption, America's been corrupt since 1920. Every time a pig opens their mouth, they confirm why America is by far the most corrupt country on the planet. You guys are supposed to be public servants, not domestic terrorists. All right? And I got one more, and I got a joke for you guys. What do you call a constitutional republic American who signs up, how's it, hold on. Okay, so I had to stop that for a second. I had a brain fart. So here's how it goes. Here's how the joke goes. Not really a joke, but more ideology or point, making a specific point. What do you call a constitutional republic American working as, not for, there's a big difference, an unelected federal agent causing problems for the agency? Call them a laxative because they let the shit out. Can we stand up for our constitutional rights? I love my country. I love this planet. And my ideology is about repopulating endangered wildlife. And in the last 60 years, humanity has populated 1 billion per 12 years for the last 60. And in that same time frame, 70% of wildlife habitats have been eradicated, completely disastered, destroyed because of human impact. Now back in the 90s, now one of the reasons why I chose, veterinary medicine or tree hugging is because the sixth mass extinction. I don't like that. I don't think you want that either. We're intelligent, we're smart, and we just got done with the cleansing. And the ones who got the vaccine, you've been marked by the beast because you can't tell the difference between reality and lies. Ego versus reality. So, with lots of love, respect, fear versus love. Fear kills, causes aging, wrinkles, stresses out your body, especially shame. It's probably the worst one. Then you have freedom, happiness, love, enlightenment. Do you rather be enlightened or live under tyranny? So, I hope that helps you guys out. Because I know for a fact that I am definitely been watched for the last 5 or 6 years. And the difference between me and Odin is I pulled the gold mine to lose my eyes.